Alright, budget magic time. Playing some white-black Fabricate in Standard. So we had a version of this deck on our instant deck techs last week, and this is my version of it. It's even more budget, and it contains some other cards that I really wanted to play in this deck. There's some changes I made that are really sweet. So if you watched the instant deck tech, this is not exactly the same, but it is in a similar vein as that deck. Looks like we're up against green-red energy. Alright, opponent gets a mountain. Let's just Forsaken Sanctuary, pass the turn. There's a forest for our opponent. And Voltaic Brawler. Gets our opponent some energy. Let's just Swamp and Syndicate Trafficker. We might just trade off with this Voltaic Brawler. So many tap lands. One of the downsides of being budget. Tap lands all around. Opponent's going to attack. I think we're going to try to block here. Opponent gives it trample. We block. Opponent, okay, this is the combo version. Rush of Adrenaline. Gets in for some damages. Well, let's Thraben Inspector, make a clue, play a Plains, play Zulaport Cutthroat, pass the turn. Opponent has a Servant of the Conduit. Well, we got to take our beats this turn. Opponent spends their energy, hits us down to 11. We play Evolving Wilds, pass the turn. There's a forest for our opponent, goes to combat. Swings with the Brawler. Let's soak up a couple damage. Down to 9. Drain and gain, back up to 10. Opponent passes. So let's crack Evolving Wilds. Grab a Plains, crack our Clue token, Syndicate Trafficker, and Weaponcraft Enthusiast. How do we make sure we survive here? Let's play Westful Abbey, play Syndicate Trafficker, pass the turn. So I think what we're going to do is block Voltaic Brawler, and then hopefully if our opponent plays Pump Spells, we can Anguish Unmaking to kill it. Still a little risky if our opponent has like Pump Spell plus Blossoming Defense. We could get blown out. So opponent goes to combat. Attacks with both. Pays an energy, I'm sure. Yep, gives it trample. So we're going to block here on the Brawler. Opponent has Blossoming Defense. Well, let's try it. Anguish Unmaking on the Brawler. Do they have double Blossoming Defense? They do not. Okay. So we drop to 5. Opponent passes. Ooh, we draw a Grasp, too. Well, 1, 2, 3. Weaponcraft Enthusiast. Make some servos. Play Evolving Wilds. Pass the turn. We might be stabilized now. We can sack servos to make our Syndicate Trafficker indestructible. Also gain some life. Opponent does go attacking. Let's put a whole bunch of stuff in front of it. Opponent has Built to Smash. Pumps it up. 2 cards in hand. Well, we need to pay 1. Sacrifice a servo. Drain our opponent. Go up to 6. Opponent down to 18. Whew, alright. I think we stabilized. Opponent passes. We crack Evolving Wilds. Get a Swamp. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's a Marionette Master. So let's slam Marionette Master. Go wide with servos. And our opponent scoops it up. Sweet. Whew, well, we survived the pump spells, just barely. So against this deck, I think we want Blessed Alliance. And another Anguished Unmaking for more instant speed removal. And maybe just try it like that. We can go down a Bygone Bishop. And what? Maybe it's just Vampiric Rites. Yeah, I think we'll go down the Vampiric Rites for now. Seems a bit slow in this matchup. Alright, and let's keep it. Sanctum for our opponent. So let's Forsaken Sanctuary. Pass the turn. Play a Swamp, and yeah, we'll just pass. We can't really do anything here. Opponent passes. They haven't played anything? Okay. So let's play our Plains, and I think we just run out Bygone Bishop for now. And pass the turn. Opponent has some red mana, and passes. Ooh. Alright, so play the Plains, Play Weaponcraft Enthusiast, get a clue token, make some servos, and then Thraben Inspector, get 2 clue tokens. Bygone Bishop is so sweet. I feel like that card is so underplayed. I mean, it takes the right build, but in the right build, it's very good. So it feels like we're in pretty good shape. We could flip a Westville Abbey if we happen to draw one. Ether Hub gets our opponent an energy. Oh, whoa! Okay. This deck is much spicier than I imagined. I don't know what's happening. We saw energy aggro. Maybe they're playing Fevered Visions in the sideboard? Although this seems like an odd matchup to bring in Fevered Visions. So let's play a Swamp. Attack with the crew. Guess we probably shouldn't attack with Weaponcraft, but send a message. Opponent, Harness Lightning on our Bygone Bishop. Okay. We get in for 3. Then we play Eiley, the Eternal Pilgrim. Pass turn. Draw a Grasp. Grasp isn't a bad hedge to have. Ether Hub gets our opponent an energy. I'm really unsure of what our opponent is up to. There's the Bristling Hydra. Well, I think we're just going to try to kill it with the energy on the stack. They could have Blossoming Defense, but they don't have enough energy to protect it right now. Alright, there's Blossoming Defense. Yep. Well, let's see what we draw here. Fevered Visions gets our opponent a card. We get a tap land. We'll play the tap land. Let's get in with Eiley. If our opponent wants to trade Bristling Hydra for Eiley, that is fine with us. Opponent takes it. So, yeah, let's just pass the turn. Get another Eiley. Unfortunately, legendary, so we can't just cast it. There's Electrostatic Pummeler. Yep. Opponent goes to combat and passes. Well, let's crack a clue token. Get a Thraben Inspector. And then 1, 2, 3, Stasis Snare. Try to get rid of this Pummeler, unless our opponent has another Blossoming Defense. Do it with Fevered Visions on the stack so they don't get an extra draw at Blossoming Defense. Tapping blue mana. Alright, we got rid of the Pummeler, so that's good. Pummeler down. We untap another Thraben Inspector, so let's attack with Eiley. Still perfectly fine with this trade if our opponent wants to do it. Opponent blocks. Trades off. Well, let's play another Eiley. Play Thraben Inspector, get a clue. Play Thraben Inspector, get a clue. We could have played Marionette Master, but this gets us below the range of Fevered Visions, which is nice. And now that we're below Fevered Visions, we should be able... Well, I don't know. We're going to crack clues, so we're probably not going to stay there. Attune with Ether for our opponent. Not sure about Fevered Visions in this build. I'm a huge Fevered Visions fan, but I'm still not sure that it's... if this is the best home for it. Another Bristling Hydra for our opponent. Get some more energy. The scary part is they're up to 12 energy, which means Electrostatic Pummeler is going to kill us super quick if our opponent finds another one. One attack step, even through all of our blockers, is likely going to be lethal. Alright, sack a clue. Another Marionette Master. Well, let's go to combat. Might as well attack with everything, except Weaponcraft. Opponent can eat something, but our 1/1s aren't doing that much anyway. Play another Weaponcraft. Make some servos. Pass the turn. Well, we've gone wide enough that unless our opponent can kill us here, we're pretty close to winning. We can also just jam a Marionette Master at some point, and that makes it so if our opponent blocks and kills our servos, they're still going to die. There's Lathuhelion for our opponent. Servant of the Conduit. Well, I think we are just going to win here. Opponent passes. Let's just sack a clue. Another Eiley. We get a tap land. So, Grasp of Darkness, Lathuhelion. And then, I guess we just attack with everything. Except the Weaponcraft Enthusiasts, of course. Opponent blocks. And blocks. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So unless our opponent has a removal spell, this is still lethal. 2, yeah. Or no, it puts our opponent to 1. Miscounting. Alright. So opponent goes to 1. We play the tap land and just pass the turn. Draw a card, drop to 12. It's a swamp. So we have enough mana that we can escalate once with Blessed Alliance, so gain 4 and make our opponent sack an attacker. I'm assuming they just have to try to win here somehow. Like they have a handful of pump spells and can use that to win the game. That's got to be their plan. Attune with Ether, sure. They can pump their Hydra many times. Opponent has another Hydra. Yep. Goes to combat. Attacks with both. So we block and we block. Opponent gives the Hydra Trample. Pumps it. Pumps it. Pumps it. This shouldn't be lethal though. 10 power. 11 power. 12 power. Blossoming defense. So let's just Blessed Alliance, gain 4 life. And that does it. Sweet. Well, white-black Fabricate taking down Temur Energy. That went pretty well.